Welcome everyone to another installment of AFFC pre-conference interview series. I am Shemin Vizzi. Today, I will be interviewing Dr. Alicia Pointer. She is the Chief of Pediatrics at Cornerstone Family Healthcare. She is also the Director of STAR Foster Care Health Program, which provides mental health support, medical care, and healthcare coordination for children in foster care in Orange County. So let's take a look at my interview and see what Dr. Pointer will be presenting at this year's conference. So why don't you introduce yourself and let everybody know how you're connected to foster care, and you can say your name so that way everyone knows who you are to start off. So welcome.
Thank you. So I'm Dr. Alicia Pointer. I'm a pediatrician in Newburgh, New York. I have been trauma trained and I've been working with kids who've been exposed to trauma for probably the past 9 years. And most recently, I started and direct our STAR foster program, which is a multidisciplinary clinic for kids who are in foster care in Orange County.
Tell me a little bit about let's start off with first, how did you get involved with AFFC and why? How did that relationship start?
So I, like I said, have been working with kids who've been in foster care for the past few years. And so that was always sort of in the back of my mind, looking for more resources for families and kids. And I live in New Paltz, New York, and I was actually driving home one day and I saw the sign on Main Street. I had already followed you guys on Twitter, I think, and I thought, wow, that sign looks really familiar. And I reached out to Pat and said, hey, are you guys located in New Paltz? And he confirmed and brought me on board.
That's amazing. That's a cool story. So tell us a little bit about, so the STAR program, the STAR Foster Health Program. Tell us a little bit more about what that is. Why did that get up and running? Why was there a need to have something like that up and running?
So kids in foster care, kids involved in child welfare already have a lot of health risks, and they're at much higher risk for health problems throughout their whole lives. So in childhood and in adulthood. And that's for a lot of different reasons. So one is just the health effects of trauma in general, the effects that trauma has on the body. But another reason is because they have these lapses in healthcare during these multiple transitions. That's particularly true in things like dental care, specialist care, mental health care, things like that, where it can take a little while to make an appointment. By the time the family has an appointment, maybe the kid has moved on to somewhere else or gone back home. So we were really trying to make sure that we could have everything in one place, that we could have health information that would follow these kids wherever they were. And also that we could provide the people taking care of these children with the information that they need to take care of their health needs. Because a lot of times foster families or even kinship placements didn't have a lot of information about children's health before they came there. And likewise, when kids went back to their own families, a lot of those parents didn't know what had happened with their children's health when they were out of the home. So the program is really designed to make sure everyone is on the same page. Everyone gets the information they need. We make sure that kids have the appropriate screenings that they need, that's up to date, that they're getting things like their dental health care and their mental health care. And we do it in a system that's trauma informed. So I had mentioned that I'm trauma trained, as are our providers, but our nurses are trauma trained, our medical assistants are trauma trained, we have care coordinators working with these families too. So we really want to make sure the whole team is doing everything they can to support these families through this very challenging journey.
Amazing. Thank you for explaining all that. That's awesome. So when you were going, I guess I'll say when you were going to medical school, was this something that you always knew you were going to do? Or was it that when I see that you worked with refugees, was it something of a process where you realized this is something that needed a lot more support and you kind of did this, so you said over the last like 8 or 9 years. So was that something that you've always focused on or it grew?
I'd say definitely a process. So I worked with refugees early on, right out of residency. And of course, those kids have been through a lot of trauma too. And I think I just wasn't prepared for that going into it. This isn't the kind of training that you really get in medical school or in residency. And right away, I was struck by, oh my gosh, I need to learn more because I need to make sure that I can take care of these kids in the way that they need to. So I did that work for a little while. And then I moved out here to New York. And I just happened to be seeing kids who were involved in child welfare in my usual work as a general pediatrician. And I realized that obviously these kids have been through a lot of similar traumas, obviously very different in some ways, and began to recognize more and more what their healthcare needs were, and realizing that we really weren't meeting those needs in the best way possible in Orange County.
So let's go into your topic, which is a great topic because I say it affects everybody. We're going to talk about sleep. The title of your workshop is Sweet Dreams After Scary Times, Addressing Sleep Problems Following Trauma. Amazing topic. As I said, everyone has dealt with some kind of sleep something in their lives. And obviously trauma is a huge another layer. Why don't you explain a little bit about in like a little bit the description of what exactly you're going to be presenting for everybody this year?
Yeah, so like you said, sleep is so important for a lot of reasons. For families who've experienced trauma, caregivers need to be getting enough sleep to have the patience and energy to do their job well. Children obviously need sleep, partly for the emotional and physical healing that sleep provides, but also to help with that self-regulation. You know, we all know when we don't get enough sleep, we're grumpy, we're not making the best decisions. And so it's an issue that comes up all the time. One of the most common questions and concerns that I get from families. And this isn't just kids who've experienced severe trauma. Like you said, everyone goes through stressful times. Every kid's going to experience something scary in their life, and every kid needs sleep. So in this presentation, I'm not going to pretend that sleep issues are easy to treat. A lot of times they can be very complex, but there are simple, concrete things that every family can do to help their kids get the rest they need. So we're going to talk about what some of those simple things are that families can work on. We're going to talk about more complicated sleep issues and how to start to think about those and address those. We're going to talk about when to look for outside help for sleep problems and when things like alternate diagnoses or medications might be useful. So we're going to try to cover a pretty broad range of sleep issues, but like I said, give families very simple, concrete things that they can do to help their kids sleep better, help them sleep better, and feel positive and confident that they're at least on a better path.
Awesome. So I guess the last thing that we usually ask when you're doing the RFPs, it's like a little plug for yourself. Why do you think this would benefit? I think this is an amazing topic, and I think it's not just for foster kinship, guardianship, adoptive families. I think it's for everyone. I think it's a helpful tool for parents, for kids, teens, everyone. Why do you feel that everyone would benefit from listening to your presentation at this year's conference?
So like we talked about, you know, sleep is important for dealing with all of the hard things that we deal with in life. And everyone, including every child, deals with those hard things once in a while. And this is really going to help families get past that frustration that there's nothing that they can do. It's really going to help them come up with solutions and realize that there are solutions and that this will get better. You know, it's hard for us when we're tired to feel like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And I hope that this presentation gives those families a light at the end of the tunnel for dealing with their kids' sleep issues.